Hello, and thanks for listening to JoJo's Bizarre Podcast. My name is Mark.
Miles, you always do that.
That voice you just heard was Miles. Hello, Miles.
Hi.
No.
Hi.
That other voice you heard was Jackie.
I'm Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. Jackie, how are you? How have you been?
I don't know. I'm fine.
Great.
Why?
Okay. I don't know. I just asked sarcastically because we live together and I thought it'd be fun.
Okay.
Anyway, look, This Chaos is a podcast about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the TV anime that started in 2012 and is currently ongoing, I guess you could say, to Season 5, Part 6, Stone Ocean. And this week we will be covering Episode 3, which I believe is called The Visitor Part 1. And to do that, it's not just the three of us. It's not just Mark, Miles, and Jackie. Today, we have a special guest.
Aloha.
It's Chad!
Hey, it's Chad.
It's Chad.
Chad's on the pod. How are you, Chad?
I'm doing good. It was so hard not to just break out laughing, actually hearing and seeing you guys doing this stuff, like as it's actually happening. So bravo to you, Miles, for being, a constant source of frustration for Mark.
It's never like Miles misses the chance to interrupt me and I go, oh, I'll move. No, every time he does it.
Yeah.
Even when we moved into Skype and I insisted that, it might sound like we don't know what we're doing.
No, I know what I'm doing.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
But Chad, you've been a long time listener and writer-inner to the pod. And Jackie and I actually met you back in... When was that?
2018.
2018. Okay. I figured it was before 2020.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like one of our last big vacations, I think.
Yeah, we went out to Hawaii and met Chad.
We didn't go there to meet Chad, but we did meet Chad.
Yeah, listeners, we are not going to go to Minnesota or wherever you live just to talk to you.
But if we're in Minnesota or wherever you live, we might say hi. Maybe.
We might.
No promises. Chad, we asked everybody this. What is your experience with JoJo's?
Yeah, how'd you get into it? What's your... How caught up are you?
Have you read the manga?
So I originally found out about JoJo's because a friend of mine who was in college at the time, I was in high school. This was back in the 90s, so this is when you guys were like in grade school or something. Because if people forgot, I'm super old. But he happened to have the original OAV, or OVA, on VHS. And so I happened to go over to his house and we watched it. And this was basically just the part from when they're fighting against Geb. So the water stand. So basically a lot of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then at some point they introduced the dog because, Iggy is Iggy. And so that got it started. Then I saw the game in the arcade, started playing the game in the arcade. And then as soon as I heard about the 2012 series coming to start from step one, from the actual part one going forward, I was on board. So I've been watching constantly since part one started back in 2012. God, that's so long ago now.
Yeah, it's almost 10 years since the anime started. I mean, it was like November or October of 2012. It was a fall anime. But when did you read the manga, if at all, did you? I don't remember.
The only part of the manga I've actually had the chance to read was I picked up one of the, I guess the collections that they have available now. I'm trying to remember what the name of
JoJonium?
Maybe, I think so. And I picked up the first volume of that from my local library. Support your local library, everybody. And I managed to read through some of it, but it's really hard to kind of go back to his original style compared to how it is now. They're just so fluffy and chubby little like soft boys.
Aww.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. And then, intermittent violence, of course, just that never went away or, ever wasn't there.
Yeah, everyone has the face of like a mascot on a playground or something. Like Jonathan always looks like he's just so like youthful and happy or something. He looks like the Speed Racer characters having a great time. But then, yeah, his like thigh has like 3 muscle groups in it that human beings don't have.
Chad, I love hearing about how you discover anime and manga. It's like you have to go on like a quest to see an old man on top of a mountain, and he like points you toward the 3 clues you have to gather in order to watch Sailor Moon.
This is how things were back then. It's just how things were. Like I've sent in those ads and things to you guys in the mail, so you can see this was the life that anime fans had to live. If you wanted to even be a fan, you had to put in time, dedication, and sadly, a lot of money.
Is there any small part of you that's like resentful of how easy it is for like anyone to get into it now? Or
Oh, absolutely.
do you just enjoy the convenience yourself?
Absolutely. You don't even need to subscribe to anything or do anything or go anywhere. You can just literally turn on your TV and there's like tons of anime. Like here's anime that showed just yesterday, like in Japan, now dubbed in 7 languages and subtitled for your convenience by actual professionals versus a random college dude who like has like, maybe 5-6 friends and decided to do this thing because he's been studying Japanese for 4 years.
I saw a video essay. I think I sent it to you or put it in the Discord a while ago about that one like lost OVA, I think, where someone was just looking for it was this rumored thing that like caused like a stir about censorship because it came with a pair of panties.
From Hazel, right?
Yes, Hazel's YouTube channel. And one thing I love is that fan dubbers at some point, I guess in the VHS era days, they would do the subtitles probably on some semi-digital, maybe just totally analog machine, and they'd like sell it at cons or trade them at cons, or maybe do some mail order stuff. But the funniest thing is that they started dissing each other like at the beginning or end of their VHS tapes. So you'd like get a tape where you're like, all right, I'm going to finally see episode 20 of Dragon Ball Z. And then it would be like, this is West Virginia subtitle group. We're saying, fuck infinite subs. Fuck them forever. Like they're just dunking on the other subtitle groups. Like it's just some kind of weird like gang sign thrown up. And then you have to watch, figure out what Goku's going to do next.
Why don't we do that with other JoJo's podcasts?
I think we've entertained the idea. I get the feeling we decided not to. I think we've said generally like fuck other podcasts about JoJo's, but
Yes.
I don't feel that way anymore. We weren't the first,
But you guys do come up pretty regularly on searches now. If you plug JoJo into Spotify, it's pretty high up there on the recommendations of, are you searching for this?
We made it.
Yeah, we made it.
We did it. Yeah, and we're going to get higher up on iTunes because I realized that one reason why the previous crossover with Blake and Spencer Get Jumped was, I'd say when you look up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in iTunes, their podcast comes up first, like in the list of episodes. And it's weird. It says provider JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but it's also just because they put the full name JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in their episode titles. Because to them, it's a novelty. They're covering it on any given week. So they put it in the episode title, whereas I put like Onion Cop, Stone Ocean episode 1 or whatever. So I've started to put in there JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and hopefully that'll help. But our listens are definitely up. Is this metric stuff super cool?
Yeah.
Do people want to hear about CPM?
Definitely leave this stuff in.
Yeah. They're like, you now have 6 listeners, up from 4.
Hey, people like knowing that a podcast is going to stick around.
Yeah.
And that's being, half serious about that too, because there have been plenty of false starts with other shows that have novel premises that just blip away.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of a ground floor person. I tend to listen to pods way after they've like established a fandom and stuff. I guess I'm not that daring a person.
I might, like, if there's usually if I find something like that, it'll be like someone that I follow on Twitter started a podcast and I like that person for whatever reason. So I'm like, I'm going to start listening to their podcast. And then, then they stop doing it or whatever.
It's annoying. It's annoying to do a podcast every week. It's just another thing to do, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for your dedication, all 3 of you.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Thanks, Chad. Thank you for writing in all the time. Oh, by the way, do you have any voice connections?
Yeah, should we go over that now? This is not Correspondent's Corner.
It's not. It's just
This is Chad in the chair.
Chad gets his own segment.
Chad on the pod. Nope.
Don't
Chad on the pod?
Chad on the podcast. Da Bears. I don't know. I can't justify that accent. So what connections did you find to the new voice actors in this episode, Chad?
So I had to dance around so much stuff, like visiting the JoJo Wiki.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of things, and I didn't want to spoil anything. I learned one little bit of information that is probably inconsequential because it's sort of something you'll be able to figure out probably by next episode.
Is it a character name?
Since it's a stand name.
Okay.
Yeah. But just to be slightly, I guess, obtuse for anybody trying not to be spoiled. So the baseball kid, he shares his voice actor with a bunch of characters that show you guys have actually heard before. In particular, he is voiced by the actress who previously played Naoko, the woman who unfortunately domed her boyfriend and had to then figure out how to dispose of his blood for years. And the Mutsukabe Hill for the Rohan OVAs. And he's the voiced by the actress who voiced Vivi from Vivi Florid Eyes song.
Oh.
Yep. And that's all I could find. Everything else was just a deep rabbit hole to somewhere else.
Yeah, there's sometimes
Mahalo, Chad.
Yes, mahalo, Chad. I think I found that the English voice actor for the baseball boy, I didn't say the name, was the 2019 Netflix dub actor for Shinji from Evangelion.
Oh.
Casey something, Mongilo or something?
In English?
Yeah,
Oh.
the English. Because, yeah, Jackie and I just watched the episode in English about an hour or two ago.
Are you doing both for every app?
Kinda,
We're
yeah.
watching it like multiple times.
Wow.
We're pretending we can watch multiple episodes in a row, so we just watch it in every language.
If I've written in this week, I would have probably asked you guys, what are you guys doing to, fill in the time to like fight the temptation to go to next episode and instead just watch credits, listen to Duffy some more?
I rewatched 1 and 2 again, and then I watched 3, the third episode 3 times. Twice in English, once in Japanese.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been fun being able to like watch it once to just enjoy it and then watching it to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the other animes, it was kind of hard. Sometimes we'd want to write something down, but there's subtitles, or you're just worried about writing shit down and then you miss the enjoyment of the show. But in this case, it's like we get both. We get to watch it and enjoy it, and then because we want to experience it again or whatever, we just watch it again.
Well, just like I can't just binge it, which is what I really want to do. But then we have this podcast, so instead I'll I'll rewatch older episodes or something, or I'll watch it in a different language or something, just to get a new experience a little bit.
I think I've mentioned this, but there's apparently a podcast, I think it's called like The Worst Idea Ever, or The Worst Idea of All Time, where they just like watch Paul Blart 2 like every week for a year.
Oh my God.
And they said that I've never listened to it, but I heard them guest on other shows, and they said that like by like this 10th time you watch it, they're like, I noticed the lighting in the third scene is a little bit hot in this corner, like just the tiniest details. So maybe that's going to start happening to us. We're going to notice little shading issues.
Yeah.
Or things that we have questions about. I definitely did look up something rather obscure for this episode, but it's the kind of thing that I'm surprised Araki didn't write himself. So we'll see.
Miles, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
This may not be a surprise to anyone, but I'm having no problem watching 66% less anime for this show.
Oh, it's definitely less stressful for us to find the
Yeah.
time to just squeeze in one episode. It's like, no, whatever.
I'm not tempted to I am tempted, but I am fine watching it every week.
You just watch it once
I just watch it once
in Japanese.
and it's fine.
Nice.
In Japanese, yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in English yet.
It's pretty good. I think that I've noticed that my real problem with dubs is not necessarily a matter of acting or whatever. It's just the fact that the timing in languages can vary so much that you could write a Japanese sentence that's really fucking long or really short. And so when you hear the other language trying to squeeze all the words in, and they're like worried about losing detail of the plot or whatever, sometimes they speak in a way where they don't pause between thoughts, and that can make it seem really artificial. So I understand that's a struggle and an art form.
And I know you're very concerned about like faithfulness to the manga, so I feel like a dub on top of that is like a layer upon a layer of adaptation.
Well, it is in Miami, so they would be, or not Miami. I keep thinking Miami. No, it is in Florida, so they would be speaking English.
No, but I mean, it's like another layer of interpretation on top of the source material.
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
it's the anime and then the dub and then the translation on top of that. But yeah, it does make sense for them to be like, they should all be speaking English.
I think it'd be funny if Jotaro had like a really thick accent in Japanese. They should have given him that.
Mm.
That like because he's such a school delinquent. Like maybe he would have sucked at English. You know,
True.
that would be.
No, the only place you can get a high quality marine biology education is in the US of A, baby.
I somehow doubt that. Japan is a series of islands. They have lots of water.
I get marine biology monthly at my house, and every issue says University of Miami, go Hurricanes.
Okay.
It's the best marine biology program in the world.
I sense a little bit of a bias there. Anyway.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't think they're the Hurricanes. Are they?
They're the Hurricanes.
I would trust
Okay.
Miles
that
over
part was correct.
any of us.
Okay. That's kind of sad.
The Miami Hurricanes?
Yeah. I don't know.
Imagine
Like,
if they could
hurricanes
harness...
devastate South Florida.
That's
yeah, but so does South Florida. You know what I mean?
What?
Like, Florida as a state does not treat itself super great.
They didn't have to build a house there.
No, I mean,
right.
like, you know, politics. We're moving on. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Okay.
That is my own rule.
Please clap.
Please clap. Is he from Florida, or is that where he was? Was he?
He ran it. Yeah, he's the governor of Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what we're talking about right now.
Yep. We're talking about stand user Jeb Bush. Anyway, let's move on. Let's take a stop right now in our correspondence corner. I don't have enough fuel. I can't keep doing puns because it's always a prison. It's always
Yeah.
Still in
JoJo's.
prison.
I can't keep doing
How do you think they feel? They're in prison.
our pen pal.
What's the name? John Galliette. Can we do some kind of pun with him?
I have multiple puns for what his name should be that I was going to go into later.
Okay.
But for now, let's take a look at our email inbox. These
All right.
are emails sent to jojosbizarrepod@gmail.com. Miles, why don't you read this first one here?
The subject line is Correspondence Corner. Hey all, first time, long time here. I spent last summer completely binging the show from start to finish due to my 12-hour security/shipping and receiving job. I assume he means this podcast.
Mhm.
I would watch a handful of episodes of JJBA and then listen to the corresponding podcasts at work during downtime. Anyway, super stoked for the rest of this part. I tried reading the manga a while ago, but I stopped after the next fight because I have attention probs. Not really a focal point here, just want to let you know I appreciate the pod. Aw, thank you.
Thanks.
P.S. Miles, I hope Conte turns the Spurs ship around. P.P.S. I'm horny. I think Conte is turning the Spurs ship around. They had a very creditable draw against Liverpool today.
What is this sport?
Soccer.
Oh,
Okay. What
I
did you-
said basketball. That's San Antonio is the Spurs in basketball, right?
Yes. Antonio Conte is the new coach of Tottenham Hotspur.
That's England?
Mm-hmm. Tottenham is a neighborhood in North London.
Wow.
How do you know all about this sport, Miles?
About soccer?
Yeah.
He's a soccer boy.
I follow it very closely.
Okay.
I feel like the question isn't really how. The question is why. But the why has been established earlier. We understand you are a major soccer fan.
I'm a
football fan.
huge jock.
Yeah.
Total.
Chad, now that you can see me, you can see what a pure athlete I am.
Yeah. Just rippling athleticism, just oozing out of every pore.
Yeah, 2 buttons popped off his shirt while he was reading that email.
I
He's
do
just
push-ups
flexing.
as we record the whole
Yeah.
time.
The whole time.
I mean, Miles is way more in shape than Jackie or I in. Miles
That's true.
does do long distance running stuff and probably like some exercises, perhaps.
Sometimes. Although, this is more jock stuff, but I have an app called Strava. Have you guys heard of this app?
No, what is it?
It rings a bell.
It's like an app that like logs your running activity. It's like a social network for people who run. And basically it does sort of like Spotify, like your year in review. And just like, if you are a new parent and you see what your activity is compared to the previous year, it's just like, oh man.
Well,
Aw.
it's also COVID, right? Or you're saying even counting that?
I think even counting that.
All right. Well, don't worry. We're not going to excuse it for you. You should get
Thank
off
you.
your ass.
I'm trying.
Bring that baby around.
Bring that baby around.
That's right. It's my new
BTB.
slogan for getting parents off the couch.
Thanks for writing in, Emilio.
Jackie, do you want to read this one from Silent?
Yes. This email is from Silent, subject line, another non-JoJo subject. Hello, JJB Pod crew. How are you all doing? This is my second email to you guys, so I'm keeping my promise so far. Firstly, I wanted to thank you guys for last week's advice. It really helped. Really? Okay.
I was like, did it help? Okay. About how to stay occupied at a job where they can't use headphones.
While going through the pod's non-JoJo related episodes, I stumbled across one with Mark and Jackie where the movie Spider-Man 3 was brought up. Mark was trying to argue that it was a good movie, and Jackie the opposite. I myself think it's a fantastic movie. But I wanted to get Miles' opinion on it and also ask you guys to rate all the Spider-Man movies from best to worst. To keep this email JoJo related, do you guys think if Spider-Man was a stand user, his stand would be similar to Jolene's? Thanks all for this week. Love y'all. Oh, sorry. That's all for this week. Love y'all. P.S. I'm very horny for the new Spider-Man movie. I have already seen it 3 times in theaters.
Wowie.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I have not been keeping up with Spider-Man.
Thanks for writing,
Me
Silent.
neither.
I've
only seen the Toby ones.
Me too.
I think that's true for me too, except I've seen clips.
I've seen I've seen the Miles Morales one, the Enter the
Yes, I've seen
that one's really good. And of the new kid, who's the new
Tom Holland?
Tom Holland.
Of him, I've only seen when he's appeared in other Marvel movies that, like, for some reason someone invited me to go see, like,
wow,
Avengers or whatever.
Jackie can
is that
take
what it's
or
called?
leave social interaction.
The Avengers? Is that the one with all the Marvel
Avengers,
people?
yeah.
I don't really care about. Basically, Spider-Man's the only one I care about, and I don't really care enough to really.
You should have just
care.
walked in and like an hour and a half into the movie and just been like,
I want to see
No Way Home.
I think I want to see the new ones, the Tom Holland ones.
I think they're all named after home, right? Isn't
Are
it like
they?
Yeah.
Homecoming, No Way Home? I don't know what the first one is.
No, it's a Homecoming, Far From Home. That's when they go to Europe, and then No Way Home is the current one. I would recommend watching at least the 2 other Tom Holland ones before you go and watch the third one. I got to go see the third one this past Thursday with my wife, and we both loved it. It's 2.5 hours though, so be prepared. And there is currently, just to date this this recording, currently a surge of a not to be dismissed variant of COVID going around. So please be careful. But yeah, it was so much fun. It was a lot of fun. I cried at least twice.
Oh wow, that's not what I would call fun. When I go to a movie and cry, I don't like that movie. Gets a thumbs down.
No, it's good.
Nope.
I like feeling things.
I only want smiles, or I want thrills or chills. That's it. When
What
I
about
see a
spills,
movie.
Mark? Come on.
I don't want to talk about spills. It's private. I'm boring, and I've only seen the Maguire movies, so I feel like my number one would be probably the first one. I think a lot of people say Spider-Man 2 is better, but I don't really remember it that well. And I like the beginning superhero movies because I do think, even though like they do origin stories all the time, it is fun to see the different takes on them.
And it's a pretty good. I think they do a good job with the origin story.
Yeah, because Spider-Man's also like, he's like you. He's a teenager. He's kind of a nerd. But then, whoa, now look. And then like, I do like Spider-Man 3, but it is a bad movie. I just think parts of it are very funny, and some of it is fun. And then the Garfield movies I've seen pieces of, including where an important female character dies, and it's like it's kind of brutal. So I was like,
Oh, I might have seen. Is Gwen Stacy in that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Emma Stone is Gwen Stacy.
I saw one where I was excited to see. Well, actually, no. At first, they didn't tell you her name, and I thought it was Felicia Hardy, and that's who I want to see in a movie. But I don't think they
the
put
Black
her.
Cat.
They haven't put her in anything yet, as far as I know. But I'm gonna my number one that I'm gonna rank is gonna be the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, because that's my favorite version of Spider-Man.
That's not a movie.
That's not a movie. It's an entire. But if you marathon all of it, it's like a really, really long movie. It's like a 12-hour movie.
I guess that's true.
And it has like the weird Clone Wars stuff at the end that they weren't able to like really wrap up, I think.
Oh,
It was
okay.
weird. And good.
They had their own like metaverse thing?
I think it got canceled like before they could wrap up like
Yeah.
one of the main storylines, but
there was a
still
weird
good.
clone saga in the Spider-Man comics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think every superhero has had that kind of clone thing. Superman, after he died, there were a bunch of like Superman wannabes. Like Bizarro Superman at one point, I think, tried to step in for Superman. Steel was a thing. Batman had Jean-Claude Valley. I forget his name. He stepped in, but he was too mean. I don't know. They're not clones, I guess.
No.
But Batman has done some weird shit.
No, the clone stuff is like there's alternate realities and there's different Spider-Men and there's man spiders and there's like...
Well, Batman has Batmite, Man-Bat. I don't have a third thing. I wish I did. It would have made the rhythm better on that. But cue Talia writing in. Anyway, let's move on. Thanks again, Xylan.
Wait, Miles,
What?
do you want to rank them? we've all only seen the Tobey Maguire. Is it just 1, 2, and 3? Is that the order for the Tobey Maguire
No, I go
ones?
2, 1, 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, but the Spider-Verse one is my favorite.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so that I would put that one as number 1. So
Me too.
okay. So it's really Spider-Verse, then 1, then 2, 3.
Okay, I guess I'll
Well,
go...
for me, it's 2, then 1, then 3.
Oh, right, whatever.
For me, I guess I'll go... Let's say 1, 2, Spider-Verse 3.
Okay, fine.
Wait, Chad, you've seen more of them than us.
I've seen everything except for the Garfield movies. The Garfield ones are my,
Too much
my one blank
lasagna.
spot.
Yeah, I thought... I was like, what the hell does that have to do with it?
But I mean, if I'm ranking stuff, I honestly would probably put not to be spoilers or anything, but the most recent Spider-Man. Honestly, he's what I kind of picture Spider-Man being. He's a young kid. He's doesn't know when to shut up, and gets in over his head because he's trying to be good because he effed up like earlier in life, and he's trying to like make things right now. So. But the Tobey ones are great. The Tobey ones are my wife's favorites out of the whole bunch because that's that was so many people's modern introduction to Spider-Man. If you didn't read comics, you knew about Spider-Man, but everything that you kind of have as your baseline was kind of set there. So everything there has just been a variation. And it's funny, Jackie, that you mentioned the old '90s cartoon show because that show had a hand in creating what would result in the Spider-Verse being made.
Really?
The guy who was the voice actor for Spider-Man in that show, I can't remember his name. He did a great job. He was the voice of Noir Spider-Man in the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era game called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which had a whole bunch of Spider-Man voice actors coming back to play different Spider-Man. And that was the first time they explored the idea of multiple dimensions of different Spider-Mans coming together. And that then turned into a comic series, which then resulted in, hey, let's make a movie.
Very cool.
And he got,
Chad, you're a nerd about voice actors. Why is that?
I just, for some reason, I can't get over how neat it is that people can portray all these different characters, but they're still the same person. In the range that some people have is just insane. Like there was actually a voice connection a couple weeks back when you guys were watching Ranma 1/2 that I wanted to point out that Mark's favorite Takehiko Koyasu.
Takehito Koyasu.
Okay, dang it, that's right, man name. Anyway, so if you guys end up watching up later on, he shows up in that show, but as a very non-Dio adjacent type voice. He plays a shrunken little old man who spends 90% of his screen time trying to like steal panties and or grope breasts.
That sounds about right.
Oh man.
That sounds like something that might happen in Ranma.
Yeah. So honestly, the real what keeps drawing me to all this is the fact that these people have all this range, and we got to see some of that too in Rec, where this one actress was doing all these different voices, and that's expected because you can't just be, unless you establish yourself as this, I am the deep voice guy. I'm going to always do a deep voice. That's what you hire me for. I'm not going to do anything else. That comes with experience and with establishing yourself. But when you're just getting work, you got to have range, or else you're not going to get work.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was reading an interview with Kira Buckland fairly recently, where she said that she doesn't feel like she's been typecast, which is good. And I'm sure that like in the English language dubbing community, especially back then. I don't know about now, but it seemed like it was a very small world. So I feel like, yeah, you probably had to have range because, yeah, they could call you for anything. And I feel like, yeah, it used to be like anime cons, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was. I feel like it would always be the same like voice guests there. It was always like the same handful of people that would do voices.
Yeah.
I think they're still around for the most part. Anyway, this email is from Pamela. The subject line is, "That is a huge butt." Also, Jotaro is here. Hey there, JJB Pod. What an amazing episode that was. I can feel myself falling back into my JoJo addiction. Introducing Jongali A, aka Juicy John. I refuse to be mature about this. He is really good looking, though. I love his character design. Seeing how much Jolene misses her mom makes me sad. I want to see them talk at least once. The fact that she's willing to ignore the warning she received because it could have been her mom breaks my heart. It's nice to see a JoJo showing love for their parents. Speaking of parents, Daddy Jotaro is here, and he looks like he just turned 25, even though he should be in his 40s. That is a giant hat. It feels like it's alive, and it keeps growing with each shot. It's probably a stand. David Production really didn't need to make it that gigantic and alluring, but they obviously want you to look at it. I am referring to both Jotaro's hat and Juicy John's assets. I wish Jotaro was nicer to his daughter, though. Juicy John is here to remind us that even though we are in a stone ocean, it will always be Dio's world. It's funny how people are still trying to get revenge for him. P.S. Jotaro is hot. That's it. Willy Wonka hat and all, he still looks so good. P.P.S. Oh my god, that is a giant butt. I saw spoilers on Twitter and I thought it was edited to look bigger, but no, it wasn't. Feels great to have JoJo back. Question. Does Jotaro being a bad dad surprise you, or is that something you would have predicted? I would have predicted that.
But is Pamela horny?
Yes.
I can't tell.
For sure.
I don't think that she needed to write anything about that.
Pamela likes big
butts.
big butts, and she cannot lie.
That's fair. We all noticed it.
Yes,
and
for
yes,
sure. We're definitely
thick ass.
gonna spend some time talking about it when we go over the episode. I have things to say.
I don't have much specifically to say except trying to come up with pun names for Jongali. But
I like the Juicy John is a good nickname.
Pretty good.
Good nickname.
But yeah, Jotaro being a bad dad makes sense to me. He's terrible to his mom when he's younger. His dad was not around. He was off blowing into the saxophone.
That's true.
So
that's true. He doesn't have an example. Well,
we also know that, yeah, I mean, it's all bad dads all the way down to, Joseph Joestar going off and sleeping with another woman. That's bad husbandry, technically, but probably also...
Well, he wasn't there for the kid that... I guess he didn't know he had, right? He didn't know he had.
Well, he wasn't there for Josuke, yeah, but I don't know if he knew. I don't think Holly had a problem. Jonathan's dad liked Dio better and then got murked. George Joestar II died.
I think Jonathan's dad is probably the best dad, though. He was actually there more, wasn't he?
I mean, I don't think George II really did anything bad. I mean, he died. He got killed, so I don't think he was around for Joseph.
Yeah.
And I think Joseph was good to Holly. He wasn't good to Josuke.
Right.
But yeah.
In defense of Jotaro, I would say that his experiences having to come up against the forces of Dio and his, apparently boundless passion for marine biology and starfish have worked to pull him away from being able to be an active participant dad and basically, foisting everything on his wife and letting her kind of, handle things, basically trusting that she'll handle things and that his daughter will, like he, turn out to be okay. So she'll survive, which she was more or less right. She held her own as far as things go, So, but that's, probably he's still a bad though.
Yeah, I mean, she got arrested at age 14, which is not great.
And he's just like, I need to go look at starfish.
I gotta go. Yeah. Also, my face is fucking weird right now. We'll talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that.
What? Okay, I feel like there's things to comment on here.
Just juicy butts, and yeah, I think Jotaro's hat. This is so far like Jotaro just looks worse to me every time I see him.
Really?
That's how he ages.
I associate him with like early mid-90s Araki drawing style.
Mm-hmm.
So as he becomes like a little bit smaller, a little bit softer, the way Araki's drawings in general have, it's harder for me to keep seeing him change because he's like a constant. Like Joseph ages like crazy and then is gone. But Jotaro like has been through, whatever it is, the early like 1990, whatever the fuck, all the way 10 years later into 2000. And his fashion gets worse. I liked his fucked up school jacket. It's just black. But then it's like, okay, he can't always be wearing a school uniform. Then he's wearing white in part 4. And I think some of the emblems got bigger. And then part 5 and 6, it's like, what are you doing now? Now you're calling attention
Those
to yourself.
Pants. What
Way
are
too
those
much.
pants?
The pants are a lot. Having JoJo up and down both sleeves is a little much.
I think he looks cool.
I don't know. And his hair does seem to be taking over the hat.
Yeah.
It feels like what's that Star Wars line that's like, he's more machine than man now. It's like, he's more hair than hat now. Just slowly, eventually it's going to just be like Josuke's pompadour you slap on your head or something. It's always good to see him back again, though.
I also saw the butt, like the screenshot of that, I guess, as some meme that I don't remember if I understood it or not at the time, but I did, and I also thought it was like, I was like, is that Photoshop? Like that, not Photoshop, but like I thought like somebody just like blew it up,
Yeah, and I read,
and then it shows up on screen. I'm like, well, that's it. There it is.
I read the manga chapter again today, and
in the manga, is it a big juicy booty?
I think they made it a little bit bigger for the TV show, but it's definitely a big butt. There's a few weird. No, you know what? There's one weird Jolene frame where her butt is really popping. Yeah, no, he's got a big butt. John Golly's got that wagon in the comic as well.
Okay.
So far, I've yet to figure out if it helps with his. Anyway, moving on.
On a related note, the subject line of this email from Kenny is, "Good lord, that ass." Hey guys, it's me again. So first off, I wanted to talk about Stone Freeze powers because Jackie didn't seem to think they are very interesting.
Sorry.
Powers in Part 6 are less powerful, but more versatile in general. Less punchy, more smarty. And that is more back to the roots of JoJo's, like Joseph, who had to use his weapons and wits to fight a bunch of all-powerful foes. He even beat AC/DC with a long string and a trick. The stakes are way higher with a weaker stand. Jolene can't just revive or save her fallen comrades like Giorno or Josuke did. If somebody dies, he is dead. I like that a lot. And BT dubs, they sing "Don't Stop Beating Them Up" at the end of the OP. I figured it out. I was wondering.
I also was hearing "Can't Stop Beating a Man" or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard "Don't Stop Bleeding."
No.
Anyway, let's move over to the latest episode. Just in case if you wondered if it's possible to poison someone with money, I did the math on it. I don't know if that's common knowledge over the big pond, but I didn't know it. $0.25 is made from 91% copper, 9% nickel, and weighs 5.67 grams. Jolene put a quarter of a quarter in Blondie's drink, so 1.42 grams of metal. With 1.29 grams of copper in it, you can get diarrhea by eating just 15 to 75 milligrams of copper, so Jolene used more than enough. The fact that Araki knew that absolutely amazes me, but it's still him, so actually not that surprising. Speaking of Araki, did you notice how much his drawing style moved from overly masculine body types to more feminine ones? Best example, that thick ass of John Golly. God damn, you thick ass boy.
In all caps.
Okay, I've got that out of my system now. Let's finish this mail. It was great seeing Jotaro again back in an actual stand fight, working together with his daughter, figuring out enemy stand powers. That's what JoJo's is all about. Sorry for the long rant. Have a nice week and an even nicer Christmas, Kenny. P.S. I don't have to make a pun. You know what I'm horny for.
Yeah.
Fair
I'm amazed,
enough.
Kenny, that you... thanks for looking that up.
Yeah.
That's actually what I mentioned that I researched like a little bit too much this week, was looking up what makes up a quarter to figure that out. And yeah, I mostly found that you can get poisoned from ingesting either enough copper or enough nickel, but it seemed like what I read was that you would throw up from them. But if it can also make you shit, hey, that doesn't shock me at all. And yeah, by the way, this is not really our Christmas episode, but you know, this is going to be the episode before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to anyone who celebrates it. Happy Boxing Day good Noche Buena, and have a wonderful week otherwise, you know?
Have a happy Hanukkah, too.
No, that's way past. It's gone.
We did that already.
Yeah. And then next week will be, I guess it'll be our New Year's episode.
Yeah.
Next year will be the Kwanzaa episode, if you think about it.
Is it really?
Yeah, Kwanzaa starts December 26th.
Oh, wow. I always forget all the specs on Kwanzaa, how long it lasts.
Shout out Kwanzos.
When it is, how many candles are on. I don't know what to call it. I can't call it a menorah.
No.
I think that's Hebrew. I don't know much about Kwanzaa is what I'm saying.
I know they have different names for each day.
Oh.
And I think each day represents a different thing.
Maybe that's why they're releasing those Rohan TV drama episodes right at the end of the year. Maybe like each day of Kwanzaa is like a different Rohan character name.
There you go.
Maybe. Is this insensitive?
No.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Let's move on, Miles says. Okay, that was Correspondent's Corner. You too can be a part of Correspondent's Corner if you write to JoJo's Bizarre Pod at gmail.com.
Wait. I need to address my name was specifically mentioned in this email. I was not impressed with Jolene's power, but after rewatching all the last three episodes again and reading this email and also reading the email where the Spider-Man email when it was like if Spider-Man had a stand. We didn't answer that question, by the way. But if Spider-Man had a stand, would it be like Jolene's? And now that I think about it, like that string power can probably like do a lot. It already like lets you listen in on faraway conversations, and like she can grab things and cut things up and whatever. So she could probably do a lot with like it seems like it's a simple power, but like she can use it in smart ways. So,
yeah, we saw a new application of it in this episode, actually.
Yeah. So
She's
I'm
definitely going to put it up someone's butt, right?
I think that has to happen. In fact, I kind of wondered if that's how... I'll talk about it, but I kind of wondered if that's how she made people have to go to the bathroom. Because the comic is a little bit different from the anime around those scenes.
Yeah.
But, I could also just decide that that's what she did. That much like if you tickle the inside of someone's nose, they have to sneeze. The same thing could happen with someone's butt.
If you just shoot something up their butt.
I guess that's what an enema is. Should we keep talking about this?
I think so.
Anyway, this is a great transition to our Patreon. If you would like to support this,
Speaking of butts,
this filthy podcast, you can go to patreon.com/jjbpod and support us there for either $1 a month or $3 a month. It's very simple now. Either way, you get access to our Patreon feed, which includes the occasional extra bit of content, either just extra bits we deleted from the pod or some random video or takes on music from other anime, and Miles' weekly cultural reference newsletter. And for $3, it's the same thing, but we will thank you out loud on the podcast. Like this.
So thank you to Ken Barron, Kasoon, Caleb, Lord Zendar, Jumbo, Katie, Bloof, Nocturnal, Kenny, Caden, Nick, Austin, Tim, Tyler, Martin, Michael, Christian. Did I screw up?
No, you're doing great.
You just had to go back down because you hit Martin and at a peak.
I did have to go back down.
Yeah.
And Chad.
Oh yeah, thanks, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
This is
No worries.
this is the in-person thanks. So yes, thank you all so much for supporting the show. We hope you will continue to support us even through 2022, if you can. You don't have to. If you were to support us at $1 a month, that would only be $12 more for next year. But you don't have to. You could do as many months as you want to. Was that enough vamping? Is everyone good?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Again, that is patreon.com/jjbpod. Let's take a quick break. I need some more water. And then we can talk about episode 3 of Stone Ocean, The Visitor, part 1. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we are back to talk. As stated, we didn't switch. We're not like, we're going to talk about episode 5. No. This is episode 3, The Visitor, part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean, the anime. If you didn't know, and you probably didn't, I'm going to nerd out and tell you that this covers chapters 10 to 13 of the manga that came out in the spring of 2000 originally. And my favorite original chapter name is that chapter 10 is called Baseball Boy. And at the end of chapter 12, Araki, my favorite comment by Araki of the week was, "I've been falling over stuff like a kid a lot lately. Fortunately, I don't get hurt, but it's kind of uncool." He wrote that.
Okay.
So how does this episode open?
I think it starts with an intro. There's a recap and then the intro. And I just have a comment here.
You mean like the OP as the intro?
The OP.
Okay.
And I just have a comment. Why are there CDs in the OP? Like, why are like CDs just raining all around?
I don't have to answer that.
Okay.
This is 2011, right?
Yes. Well, it takes place in 2011, but it came out in 2000. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so he assumed CDs would continue on.
Yeah, and
False, wrong, incorrect.
well, 2011, you might still burn a CD. Did I? No, I don't know if I did in my second or third year in college.
Everything was on USBs for me.
You know what? Now that I think about it, the OP I think actually ends with "Don't stop burning CDs." I think that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Stop believing.
Burning? I don't know.
So the beginning actually starts with, well, after the OP, Jolene voiceover is talking about her power, and she's talking about how like she has a far range of I forget what.
I don't think she says the far range, but her close range is 2.5 meters.
Yeah. That's the bundled reach.
The clump.
The clump. And the long range loses power. So longer range, like, but it loses power when it's longer range. But then, like, when it's in the bundled form, it is more powerful. So she explains that. And she says something about how she wants to get out using the power, but she can't right now. Like,
she says, can't break the iron bars.
Yes.
But she wants to get out.
And then she waits for the phone. And there's that scene.
Yes, this is a fun scene that I do think is probably based in reality of like Araki's research on prisons, where they're at the payphones, and I mean, well, I think the bribing, like lending and collecting payment, is probably reality. People using phones, I think we established that this is sort of a weird prison model that Araki has, where it's like maximum security level 4, but you're free to walk around and do whatever the hell you want. So I don't know about people lining up for payphones in jail. It's usually like probably scheduled and they just bring you to a phone. But
also you are like charged like usurious rates to use the phone.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's like there's one provider for basically all of the phones in prison, and they charge you like absurd amounts. It's not okay.
That's great. Just great. But I do think that the concept here of like, hey, if someone asks to lend you $1, if someone asks you to lend them $1, like you better make sure they pay up, or else they're all just going to come to you and they're going to bully you into lending more money, and they're not going to pay you back, and they're going to take advantage of you, which is basically what happens in this scene with a nice kind of friendly return from Guess or Gwess. And I think everything she says is turns out to be true. Well, we don't know everything, but it seems like she was right. Because at first, when she told Jolene about, like, you shouldn't even lend her $1, I thought maybe it was some kind of trick. I thought Guess was going to fuck up Jolene's life again.
I like how Gwess is now a friend. Like, it's a
classic JoJo.
It follows the model of, like, you defeat them and now they're a Joe bro.
Right. But you, I guess... Do you appreciate then that Jolene was like, hey, I told you we're done. Get the fuck away from me. Unlike Koichi, who was just like, what's that? You tried to kill my family? What's up, dude?
I think that the people that, I think even if Jolene is now friends with Gwess, like, I think Jolene being friends with Gwess still makes more sense than Koichi, because there was no, I don't know.
I mean, she tried to get her killed.
Yeah, but she beat her up.
But she beat her up, and now she submits to her. She's like, okay, fine. I get it.
She showed that she's not a candy ass.
And
yeah,
also,
I guess that's jail.
And also you're in prison now. So like you don't have a lot of options on like who can be your friend.
And they're cellmates, yeah.
Yeah, and they're cellmates.
I think she calls her Celly in the dub,
yeah.
actually, which I thought was pretty funny.
But back to the phone call, because you kind of skipped ahead a little bit. a girl asks for money. She lends her the money, and then Jolene tries to go to a payphone that becomes available, and someone else is like, "Hey, it was my turn," and they kind of have a little fight about it. And she learns from this person that there needs to be reservations in order to use the payphones
months in advance.
But how do you get a reservation? No one explained that.
I
From
don't.
the maitre d'.
I don't know if the idea was you make the reservation with the jail. I don't think so, because we don't see anybody doing it. Is there like one person in the jail who's like a bookie for phone schedules?
Yeah. I don't know.
I was also wondering if maybe it's bullshit. Like maybe she just said that.
It didn't seem like anybody was like regulating like, oh, hey, it's not your turn.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because otherwise you could just like beat someone up and take their spot.
Which she probably could have.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was no like, she didn't pull out a clipboard that was like, see, this is dated October.
Right.
I did it. So I was wondering if maybe she is just being taken advantage of.
I mean, also considering that this is the same character as the lunchroom, it could possibly just be. I think so. I mean, there's not that many people of color characters that are in this arc so far, and she looks exactly like the lunch lady, and so I'm pretty sure maybe it's just a matter of like just coughing up some BS so that the person who does end up coming and just says like, hey, I'll buy your spot for $20. It's got to be just people just being just. There's got to be so much stuff. Otherwise, yeah, there's nobody regulating anything. So how would any of it even work?
Yeah, and she does say, once again, that puzzling phrase here where she's like, it's one of the 7 wonders of this prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what?
I didn't think that they were the same person, but it actually makes sense that they are, because it did sound like it was like a continuation from, she was like, this is another one of those 7 wonders of prison. I'm like, why is she talking like she's already had a conversation with her?
She's trying to make fetch happen. Is basically what she's doing. She's just being like, the 7 wonders. And we're like, yeah, we get it. Just make the mashed potatoes, please. Yeah, so that...
Jolene wants to call her mom. She can't because it's a really long time and whatever. So then Gwes tells her this whole thing about how you have to get people to pay you back. And she's sweet, and I like her. Gwes, I really like. She's my fave.
She's good.
Faves. And she's like, get her to pay you back ASAP or word will get out that you're soft. And she kind of points to this really short, like young looking girl who
with tiny eyes
is getting bullied. And people are asking her to give them money. And it's like, you'll be like her. And, once you're out of money, you'll be, and she says this, Gwes says this, once you're out of money, you'll be forced to give your body and even your mind. And I'm like, what does that mean? Your mind?
You know what it means.
What does that mean?
They're gonna rent little places in her mind, and she's just gonna have to think of them all the time. I don't know what it means.
I'm curious to see how Gwes is, like, I want to see her powers again, because I liked them.
Yeah, I don't remember if they do come back, because it's been a long time since I read the comic, but yeah, I want to see lots of other hollowed out tiny animals. And people being shrunken.
Well, that's not part of the power. She could just shrink people when they're being
annoying.
annoying.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'd like to see
She can
Guess's
hollow
skill.
people out whenever she wants.
That's true.
Yeah, that's apparently her talent. The power is just shrinking them in there.
There you go.
That's often what the show is really good with, is people who have like very high skill levels at certain things and then combining them with the stand. Although that sometimes, I'm trying to think of an example where they don't have high skills, but they combine it. I'm trying to think if what's the one that changes that makes your tongue speak? What's that one?
Talking Heads.
Talking Head, yeah. Tiziano or Squalo, I forget who's who. Like if that one was really, like if they were really bad at lying and they just instead had them say stupid shit and got their stories mixed up. But anyway.
By the way, one of the listeners referred to the blonde girl that borrows money. One of the listeners in the email referred to her as Blondie. Is that her name?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that she has a name.
Okay.
I think that's just a nickname they gave her.
Because Blondie's an artist.
Yeah. Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Also an actress. She acted in a few things.
Okay. Well, I guess, so this person doesn't have a name.
It would be fitting, because Blondie has that song, Call Me.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
She also has a heart of glass, maybe. I don't know. Who knows what the show could bring? Maybe at some point Jolene hits her and she just dies. Her heart
Debbie
was so
Harry's
fragile.
from New Jersey.
Is that true? Where in New Jersey?
She's from Hawthorne, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Why did I make that sound? Who cares?
You're like,
Yeah, who
Hawthorne.
cares?
Born in Miami, Florida. What are you talking about, Miles? Oh, raised in Hawthorne, New Jersey. Fine. Whatever.
Anyway, so the girl Blondie, we're calling her Blondie now.
Sure.
She's in the library, like reading a book, and she's like, "Oh, this is she says, like, "Oh, this is a classic or something." Like, "Oh, this is supposed to be really good." And Jolene is like, "Give me back my money." And she's like, "Hey, it's just $1." At first she's sweet. At first she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll pay you back later." And then Jolene is like, "No, you got to pay me back now. I saw you go back to your room. You have no intention of paying your not your room. That's not a room. It's a cell.
You went back to your suite on the
You went back
penthouse.
to your
Yeah.
dorm and you didn't pay me back." This is like a college. It's basically a college
Kind of, yeah.
or like a boarding school. And so yeah, then they like yell at each other and stuff. And
No, they don't really yell at each other though. Blondie yells at her.
Blondie yells at her. It's like, "Hey, what are you, some kind of cheapskate? I'll pay you back."
And she's like, also, I could use some more money.
She's like, "Oh, can you lend me $10?" And she also, like, when she's asking her for more money, she's like, "Oh, can you lend me $10 so that I can pay my friend whatever." She like puts her arm around Jolene and squeezes her pigtail. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
That was a really weird move. It's like, why are you playing with it? Oh, wait a minute.
I thought it was
I
rude.
think I know why she did that.
Okay.
Because when Hermes was talking about how to get money into the prison,
Mm-hmm.
didn't she talk about one of the things you can do is put money in your hair?
Maybe.
So maybe she's feeling up her pigtail like a weirdo. Nonetheless, that's still a weird thing. Maybe she's like, "Isn't this where you keep your money? Isn't this your money?"
I see.
Huh?
I thought she was being rude. I thought she was.
I mean,
being,
no,
like,
she was being rude too. I mean, absolutely.
disrespectful. Like, "How dare you touch me?" But anyway, so we find out. I don't know. Moments later, Blondie really needs to use. Oh, no. Okay, wait. Sorry, I'm getting in.
No, we
wrong
see
order.
Jolene walk away.
Jolene walks away, and you see that she like broke a nickel with her string, and you're like, "What is this all about?" Jolene goes to the bathroom, and then Blondie really needs to use the bathroom, and she's like knocking on the bathroom door, and Jolie's in there just like, what was she doing? In my head, she's playing on her phone,
She's
but
sitting.
she wasn't doing that.
She's playing games on her phone. She's sitting on top of the toilet, like the lid is closed, and she's reading a book.
She's reading a book. Okay.
Just chilling, just vibing in the toilet.
Yeah. And so the girl says that she'll give her $10 if she opened the door, because Jolene was like, "I'm not going to open it."
She's desperately like pounding on it, yeah. And Jolene's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about paying me back. Take your time." And she's kind of like, "No, I need the bathroom right now."
Yeah. So this nickel thing I did not know was a thing. Was it a nickel or was it a quarter?
It's a quarter,
Whatever it was.
but quarters are mostly copper and quoted in nickel.
Also, they're not supposed to bring money. How did Jolene have a quarter?
I don't know if she already had it or maybe Hermes gave it to her, but yeah, it's like no one's visited her.
Or maybe her string, like, Spider grabbed it. Like
Spider grabbed, yeah.
Maybe she grabbed it from somewhere else and then cut it and then put it in her drink.
No, because she also gave Blondie 4 quarters when Blondie asked for $1.
Oh.
So she has money. Maybe she traded something for it.
Okay.
Maybe she's
like, "Hey, can you break $1?" And she got 4 quarters.
But where'd she get the dollar then? Where'd the paper dollar come from?
I think
She had
the
money.
advantage is that they try to get everybody to bring in as much money as you can without getting caught, so that you have more than whatever you might be getting, like as like a stipend or allowance. Because I think, don't some prisons give, if they have like a sponsor on the outside, to give them like some money so they can use for like commissary or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. So maybe bringing in all this extra cash is so you have that advantage over everybody else who's just depending on their usual like weekly, like, here I get like $5, versus like I've got $500 hiding in my boobs, so I'm set versus everybody else.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, again, it's only in the comic, but she does give the barber like $30 to not cut her hair. So yeah, I guess that Hermes was saying you need to smuggle a lot of money in you have some cash now, but yeah, they're not going to let you spend it all, or people are going to steal it or something. So yeah, it's possible she had a little bit of money. But in the present here, we see that she's, when she goes away, that she had crushed a quarter and had dropped it into this woman's tea or coffee or something. And then, the woman's like pounding on the door and she's like, I'll give you $10. Jolene goes, sold. She kicks open the door, which then bashes the woman in the face to the point where she bleeds. And she's like, oh, sorry. But she lets her in, I think. I don't know if she says anything
she goes in.
else. And then she goes up to the lady that we saw being bullied before, that Guest was using as an example of prisoners being bullied because they lend people money and they're too nice. And she says, hey, when that lady's done, go in the bathroom because someone else is going to need it really badly next. And it's up to you if you want to take advantage of that situation to get your money back or whatever.
Only you can get yourself out of this. But not only you, because Jolene set the whole thing up for you. It's easy.
I guess this is just like, this is the one time I'm going to help you. And from then on, it's all you. Because someone helped Jolene as well. Someone gave her advice. And the reason why she says that is because she also poisoned the drink of
some other random person.
This other tough-looking lady who has like piercings, because she was one of the women smacking the small-eyed small lady before. But I have to think, like, if you're a smaller person and you've been just, beaten up and taken advantage of by these other prisoners for however long that other girl's been in there, if you're camping on the toilet in the bathroom and she's like, let me in there, I got to shit, like, she might get money like temporarily, but I think they might just like stomp the shit out of her later. You got to have like a different character, a different constitution.
Also, there's no way a prison would have a bathroom that was just one stall, that was just like one room.
Yeah.
Right? Like a prison is going to have like a public bathroom that has multiple stalls and you have to like cram in on all of you are hearing each other's shit and stuff like that.
Yeah. And probably seeing it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe not.
the doors are all broken, so you have to see each other.
Yeah, it's true that it is weird that they have like a family changing bathroom.
Yeah.
Or like a handicap accessible bathroom, a single occupant stall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the manga, the way this scene goes down is pretty much the same, except when the woman threatens her at first and is then like, also, could you give me $10? When Jolene walks away, you just see that Stone Free has crushed a quarter in her hands. They don't show it going down a thread into coffee. The prisoners don't have drinks. So you just see her crushing a quarter and then the girls have to shit really bad. But because like Jolene introduced her stand in the beginning of the chapter by being like, here's all the specs and it can't break iron bars, but it could crush a quarter. I thought it was like this thing where it's like, hey, remember she has this stand. But then somehow made them sick. So maybe she shoved the threads up their butts.
Yeah, she tickled their little butts.
Maybe. I don't know.
On the inside.
You could have also gone in their mouth and like,
yeah,
poked around in there. They'd probably gag before they just
No, it's up the butt like Kakuin.
Like Kakuin on that plane. But that's definitely why they added in the whole coffee being poison thing in the anime, because in the manga it is a weird jump.
Yeah.
From her crushing a quarter into dust and then people having to poop.
Okay.
This is a fun scene. It's cool because at first when that woman yells at Jolene, she just walks away and you're like, she's chickening out. She's not listening to guests. But, it's like she doesn't just fake it. She has her own smart way of fucking with people and getting them to listen to her. She doesn't just have to, she didn't have to grab Blondie and be like, no, you listen to me, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm surprised Jolene even knew about that. Like, I don't know. Do most people know about, like, okay, if I do that, if I crush a quarter, it'll, you know what I mean? Like, why would you ever need to know that?
Because she probably figured it would make them sick.
Yeah.
If anything, she probably didn't realize to what extent. I mean, worst case scenario, they would have just, I don't know, maybe died at the worst case scenario. But
it would take time.
But you figure you introduce a foreign substance into somebody's drink. It's not going to be a pretty thing at the other end.
Still clever.
Yeah.
Clever idea.
Yeah, and if it was metal, it would probably fuck up your insides. Not easy to digest.
Okay, so then after that scene, she tries to get out of the library, I guess, but the bars are all closed, and so she puts her hands on the bars and is like, open the door, I want to get out of here. And then she sees little baseball, and she sees the baseball boy, and he tells her, he's like dressed up like like playing Little League. Like he has a baseball hat on and he has a number 6 on his jersey. Did anyone catch if he had something on the front of his jersey? Like, does he have a team name or anything? Or is it just like, I think it's just like a generic, like white striped.
Just pinstripes?
Yeah.
I think the hat is a Cubs hat. Miles,
is
does that
it?
track to you? Does that look like it's like a red C, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
It just, I didn't get it because I was like, that's not a Florida Marlins hat.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, well, no, it might not be a Cubs hat. I'll keep looking because like a Cubs hat, it's more of a round C.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
unless it's a minor league thing.
And the boy says, you will have a visitor. You must not meet them in the visitation room. Or something worse than death will happen. It's very ominous. And what is this all about?
What is this all about? And Jolene is like sort of gobsmacked about that. And then
Something worse than death sticks out to me. What is gonna, like, is she just gonna be tortured for the rest of her life somehow? Like, what is happening?
think about what happened to Diavolo and how Diavolo kind of didn't die, but is just fated to keep dying forever and ever. It's kind of worse than death. Or think about fucking Wham. Just flying
he's
around.
floating in space still.
Flying around in space, frozen in ice.
Cars.
Thank you.
Thank
I was
you.
like, Wham? I was like, ultimate Wham. That's right.
Hey, only one guy gets to make Pillar Man mistakes on this recording.
Okay. Yeah, just ultimate cars, just freezing in ice. There's JoJo villains have met some pretty bad ends.
Damn. Okay.
So who knows what's in store for Jolene? Because she does it. She does go into the waiting room, into the meeting room, but not before some blonde guard that is apparently a man.
Wait. I just want to pause here.
Okay.
Miles, do you have any guesses as to what, I mean, and by guesses, I mean, like, I don't know either, but I just want us to kind of just like make up a backstory for what is this? Why is there a boy wearing a baseball uniform and rolling around a baseball in the prison and also seems to have like premonition powers? Like,
Great question.
What's his deal?
It's not a boy. It's a grown man
Okay.
named Koichi.
Oh no.
And what's he doing there?
What is he doing anywhere? He's a fame whore. He just follows around these JoJo's because he likes being around them. Because he has nothing going on for himself.
And why baseball?
It's a popular sport in Japan
Okay.
And Florida.
And how can
and Florida.
Koichi tell the future or whatever?
He's making it up. He's trying to make friends. He's trying to seem interesting, so he makes stuff up. I would
just
never do
happened to see
anything
the
like
schedule, and he's just like, "Ooh, hey, somebody's going to be visiting tomorrow, and they're going to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe."
And on that schedule afterwards, an hour later, it's like 8 p.m. A fate worse than death. So he just read all that.
Chad,
Because he knows Jotaro already, right?
yeah. Well, Koichi does, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe like he just follows Jotaro around.
Chad, do you want to take a guess?
He's a loser.
Do you want to make your own
I mean-
backstory up?
My only thought is that it's got to be like maybe he's like a projection of somebody else who is in there. Like he's like some kind of weird 2-level stand. Like because I cannot figure out a reason why there would be a kid, and he even himself, like, this is, because later on Jolene asks, why is there a kid in here? And just, I don't know, I'm just here, just listen, this is what's going to happen.
Interestingly, I will point out that I think in part 5, isn't the villain a boy who was he born in jail?
That was going to be my guess. My guess was going to be it was he was born in jail, and I don't know why he's wearing
Diavolo, I guess. I forget who it was. I think it's Diavolo was born from a imprisoned lady.
Yeah, and then when the baby came out, it had like some kind of weird thing, like glowing eyes or something.
It was just like awake and it was speaking. And it was like, the fuck you want? Don't spank me. I forget. Yeah, there was something with the baby. I don't know.
So maybe either he was born there, but then I don't know why why he's into baseball, like why that's a thing.
Because
Maybe
it's an amazing sport.
maybe maybe he's from nearby. Like he's okay. So he's on like the statewide baseball team that like travels, to different towns in the state. And he was like, training nearby. They were having a scrimmage game nearby, and his suddenly premonition, because he has powers, and so he had to rush over to the jail, and so he snuck himself into the jail and has just been like hiding in like the sewers and the trash cans and the alleys and stuff, so that he can warn people about the scary things that he knows about.
I like that too. I like the idea that he's like in the dugout being like, I always play left field, and then he just sees somebody being hurt really bad in the jail.
No, he's on the state team, so he's good. He's not like if he's not stuck in left field. He's like actively
somebody has to play
balls.
left field.
He's actively catching the balls or something.
That's a great attitude, Mark.
Come on.
His power is, not just premonition, it's also keeping his, baseball uniform immaculately clean, even though he's hanging out in trash cans and sewers all throughout the prison.
That means he's not playing hard. You don't get that uni dirty, it means you're not hustling.
I think he's a bench warmer. He's never had to wash that uniform. He's never touched grass. So yeah, Jolene does meet the specter of a boy who has a baseball and is like, don't go do the thing you want to do because it's bad. And he's like wielding the baseball while he tells her this.
Mm-hmm.
And then
maybe the baseball is part of the power. Maybe it's like a crystal ball, but it's a baseball.
Oh.
And he sees the future in the ball.
Maybe. Or it's how he teleports into small objects and into the jail. He just rolls the ball somewhere and then teleports to it. And then the guard shows up that they say is a man, but I thought the guard was a lady with a husky, deep voice. And Jolene's like frantically at the bars being like, there was a boy here. Like, did you not see what happened to that baseball boy? And the guard just smacks Jolene's hands with
He's like, get your hands off of the bars. And she gets her hands off of the bars. And no, he's like, didn't I tell you to get your hands off the bars? And so she's like, no, I'm sorry, but can you open the fucking door? And he like beats the shit out of her.
He smacks her hand when she gestures again. And then he like pokes her in the neck really hard, like just bludgeons her while she's on the ground. And then later on, we see Jolene eating lunch or eating food. And the guard is like, oh, sorry about yesterday, but you have a visitor I'm going to take you to go see.
Okay, but before that...
What I miss?
It cuts from when the cop beats the shit out of her, it cuts to our juicy booty boy.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
Oh, we almost missed it right there.
It's very important. So yeah, the scene like cuts and it's just like a guy naked in the shower from behind, and his butt is very round and it's popping out, and they clearly drew it this way on purpose.
It wasn't an accident.
It's beautiful. It's distracting because
I don't know what his tattoos are.
I had to watch this episode 3 times, and only on the 3rd time did I notice what was happening in that fucking scene, because I was just thinking about the butt the first time.
You didn't notice his drippy jacket?
No. What jacket?
No.
He's wearing a jacket at the time, or a shirt.
He's not wearing she's naked.
Well, eventually he puts one on. He leaves. And his shirt's texture includes like what looks like drippiness, as though like someone painted his shirt and it's dripping.
I didn't notice that.
He has tattoos, including I think like a world or an atlas.
Mark, how are you not staring at the butt the whole time? How did you notice any of these other details?
I have also read the manga, so you have lots of more time to stop and look at everything in the frame.
Okay.
Yeah, he's showering. He's probably thinking deeply about his thick butt and what he can do with it. And then he does this weird thing where like money falls out of his shirt pocket.
No, before that, one thing that I didn't notice until the 3rd time watching it, because obviously I didn't notice anything, was he's showering, he turns off the shower, and then he starts to kind of feel around the walls to find like, I forget what he was finding, but like he was feeling around the shower because he can't see. And you see his eyes that he had, they're like white, like he's blind.
Cataracts.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like feeling around the shower, and then that's when he drops, as he's trying to put on his clothes, he drops a $10 bill, but then he like kind of catches it in his shoe by like, I don't know, kicking his shoe right in the place where the bill was dropping.
Yeah, it's awkward, but I think it's supposed to foreshadow his stand ability,
Yeah.
that he can tell when things move in space, which we'll get to. But yeah, it is weird that it's like, it looked like the money fell out of his shirt, but then it fell into his shoe.
Yeah.
In the manga, there's also a cutout thing here where outside of his shower, because he's in the men's area, there's 3 or 4 dudes playing cards, and then wind blows their cards away. And they're like, oh shit, how many cards were there? We gotta whatever. And Jung, this character, is thinking to himself, like, there's 52 cards. They have 51. There's another one stuck to someone's shoe or stuck to someone's boot or something. And then they do notice that, like, oh, hey, there's a card, hey, the last card's on your pant leg or down by your shoe. So again, I think that's foreshadowing his ability to know when things have moved in space. But yeah, it also is confusing because it's like he dropped $10 into his shoe, and someone else outside had cards blown away. One of them got stuck to their foot. I don't know. I understand why they got rid of it. And then a prison guard comes up and
Wait. Let's just pause in this moment and see if anyone else has anything to say about the shower scene, putting on his clothes.
Okay, I was going to do that after, but that's fine. What are your guys' thoughts on ass? Tell me all
I don't know. Maybe they noticed something that
butt.
we didn't mention.
I just hope that Araki drops a workout routine at some point.
I don't know if this is probably aspirational for Araki. Aspirational. He probably has like a fictional workout for this guy, but it includes like insane exercises done thousands of times a day.
I have more ass comments. If no one else,
I have comments.
No, wait.
No, what?
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
You're more important. So
no, you go ahead. You go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I have said that we learned that this person's name is Jongali A, and looking at his butt, I decided his name could be Donk Ali A.
And the A stands for ass?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It could also be John Fatty A.
Okay.
And John Galley ASS.
Okay.
Is the last one. I thought that one was
stuff.
good.
I wrote this guy has an apple bottom, but just that it feels like with this scene there's like more fan service for people that like men than like all the women that we've seen, because I think like, I don't know, it didn't feel like super fan servicey. Like we haven't seen anybody's like butt yet.
We
right?
saw Jolene like bent over during the
but you don't really
scene.
see anything.
Yeah.
It's not like this where there's just like all that you see is just a butt.
That's all you see.
It's a man in the shower.
There were other elements in the frame. You just weren't noticing them. He had like 5 tattoos.
Eyes up here, buddy.
Why did they do this? Because the scene, it seems like an important scene to establish, like the character design is cool. That is something that I noticed. But like, I don't know, like they put some things just so distracting in the first scene with this character. Like it's easy to miss all the detail.
It's a very funny thing to do.
I don't think it's ancillary to his character. I think he's a butt guy.
Okay. It's important.
I don't know.
When you think of him, you think he's a butt guy.
I hope someone comments on it.
I think that maybe
he walks by in jeans and they're like, damn.
Yeah, like when you think of Jennifer Lopez, you think of her butt. When you think of this man, you think of his butt. It's a defining part of his character.
I think it might be how he like steadies his sniper rifle. Like he runs like the barrel of the rifle between his cheeks and then is able to snipe people that way.
Very non-traditional prone position for firing.
Yeah. It's
he just clenches to pull the trigger.
Look, you can't argue with results. I can't imagine I would want to die from someone who shot me using their ass as like a gun rest or something, but I might also be like, I'm impressed while bleeding to death.
Do you think okay, I thought his shirt was covered in dicks.
That's what you thought the drippiness was?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'll have to look again at this character design because I just thought it was like I'm wearing fucking smudgy, oily clothes.
That shirt has a lot of pockets, though. If you notice, when his $10 bill falls out, there's other pockets that apparently those penises things are like the tops of or something. But I was actually just thinking about this. I think the reason why we see him butt naked at the beginning of when we are introduced to him, and we see him feeling around, we're supposed to see this guy as like there's some amount of he's not like he's almost like fragile. It's like, hey, this guy is, oh, he's not dangerous. This guy is, he's whatever. He's just a JoJo character with weird things. He's not dangerous because he's a blind guy feeling around naked, so he's so vulnerable in that very moment. But of course, we're distracted by the butt. But maybe he's going to be the big villain. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think that's when you're most vulnerable in general for most people, is when you've accidentally gotten shampoo or something in your eyes and then you're feeling around for the towel. When you're naked and wet and blind, just remember that everybody is that way at least one time in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like you actually stopped and thought about it, Jackie.
No, I was just thinking about how
Like,
in
wow.
prison there's like don't drop the soap, and like you have to be very careful in the like it's a joke that people make, but it's also a serious thing that happens to people. Like men get raped in prisons. That's it. No. What was I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was going to say about that.
Just thinking about that butt stuff.
Just that, like, you need to be very careful when you're showering in a prison, as in the men's prison specifically.
If you're listening from prison, please write in, by the way.
And it seemed like he was by himself. Like, he had the shower all to himself. I don't know what that means. Maybe he's like, we know that he has kind of special privileges.
Yeah, we
somehow.
know we know he has money. We learn more eventually later. Yeah, let's finish the shower thing. So,
because somebody with that booty is all the guys are gonna be like chasing after him in the men's prison.
I think
But
they just do it to anybody who's weak.
But
really,
he gets to shower alone.
Yeah, but we know he has money. Let me talk about that,
okay,
because
fine. We can move on.
the way the shower scene ends is he gets dressed incorrectly, and a guard is like, "Hey, there's a visitor coming, but not for you. It's next door." He means the women's side of the prison. And John Gali gives him this trick $10 bill that he has, or whatever. And then he's
Trick?
I mean, just the way it dropped in his shoe perfectly, or whatever. And then when he's leaving,
How did he know it was $10? If he can't see,
I don't know. Technically, all bills weigh different amounts. Did you know that?
No.
Every bill has its own weight,
I
off
did
by a
not.
few different grams. That way you can count them in money counter machines. But when he's leaving, he gives the guard the money, and the guard's like, "Oh, by the way, your pants are on backwards." And the camera indeed tilts down for you to see that his fly is on his backside, which maybe is intentional. Maybe his butt needs that extra bit of room,
It needs the space.
or he wants to show people his butt somehow. But if not that, how do you put on your pants backwards? I'm sorry. I am not blind. I do not live with that every day of my life. But I think that even in the dark, I would know if my pants were on backwards. Because part of the
He
pants...
chose to do it.
Yeah, maybe they just cut before he's like, I want it that way. This is the style. This is a JoJo comic. That's what I do. I think it's supposed to suggest, or it's Araki kind of being like, is he dangerous and threatening? Or is he a guy who can't see and so he makes mistakes? It's weird.
Yeah. I guess it's like, this is his weakness. Like, he can do so much, but he still makes little mistakes. And so next what happens is the prison guard confronts Joe, like starts taunting Jolene, and she has like bandages on her hand, and he's like, you got a visitor. And so he like drags her out to where he makes her stand on and wait somewhere like in front of the visitation room, and he tells her all these rules, including like, you can hold hands, you can't kiss or get naked.
Right. In the comic, he says, because that's how you would be able to transfer items between each other.
Okay.
Whereas here, he's just like, you're only allowed to bring stuff in or whatever. Because, yeah, it doesn't make sense for a prison guard to be like, no touching, because that's how you could smuggle stuff in. Like,
Yeah.
why would you tell prisoners how to do that?
Right. You don't have to give them a reason. They're prisoners.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to move a little bit quickly now, because then like there's a bunch of weird detail here with the next scene, but ultimately, yeah, Jolene does get into the visitation room.
Well, the boy's in the trash, and he warns her again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that
the
is
boy's
actually
in the
not
trash.
worth skipping.
He tells her again, there's something more fearsome than death, and it's happening in this prison. And he tells her not to go in there, but then he gives her a bone.
Yes.
He's like, well, if you do need to go there, you take this. It should protect you. What do we think this bone is?
I found out by reading the comic.
Okay, don't
Oh.
tell us.
What do you think this bone is, Jackie?
I don't know. Maybe it's his stand.
Miles?
I have no idea.
Chad, do you know?
I was trying to look at, I paused it for a second just to see what kind of weird shape this was. I cannot figure out where this would fit on a human, and
Yeah.
why would you be carrying on a human bone?
I have an
So
idea.
it's got to be maybe some kind of animal bone, I
Yeah.
think.
I just thought of something. This kid has premonition powers, so it's probably like she's going to need that. She's going to need very specifically that bone in a future scene that like she can't foresee. Obviously, like you wouldn't know. Like, wouldn't know that she's going to get in that situation. But because he can see the future, this is what I think. Because he can see the future, he knows. You're gonna be in a moment where you need to make a quick decision or else you're going to die, and this bone is the thing that's going to help you survive it. That's what I
like
think.
Joseph with the red stone of Elja when he's about to be killed by cars and he just holds it up and it somehow saves his life.
Yeah, sure. But this like more so, I don't know. I'm thinking of it as more like not just like I'm going to hold up a bone, but like I don't know, like you need I don't know how it's going
It's
to.
the last puzzle piece in a thing.
Yeah, it's the last puzzle
So
piece.
do you? Again, I'm not necessarily saying I know what this bone is for, but I know what part of the body that bone
okay.
is because in the corresponding chapter of the comic, Jotaro just tells her,
Oh.
which they dropped from this TV show.
Okay.
So I'll tell you. It's again.
No, don't tell us. They might tell us.
Yeah, because they might do it next episode
Yeah,
or something.
we still don't know
All
what
right,
this
fuck
bone
it.
is for. Don't tell us.
Let's screw it. I'll take this knowledge with me to bed tonight.
Okay.
Because maybe Jackie and I will probably watch episode 4 now, but maybe they won't say. Maybe they'll never say, and I'll know, and you won't.
You can tell us at the end when
Oh,
when we watch this entire
I'll
season.
fucking forget.
Yeah, because this is a part one. I mean, we didn't mention this, that this is an episode labeled as specifically The Visitor
Yep.
Part 1.
Mhm.
So we kind of, it already comes with its own baggage. We know that this is not going to be a finished, complete story or thought by the end of this, 26, however minute long
Probably.
window we get.
Oh, yeah. Then, yes, she does get this bone from Trash Can Baseball Boy, and
She goes into the visitation room, and it's Jotaro. It's her daddy.
in his new outfit,
He's got alligator boots on,
boots with no fur,
and
and she's just immediately like,
she has a flashback where she was 14, and he has a different dumb face.
yeah, it's weird. That's from a much later chapter that they bumped ahead for this episode. That's actually from like chapter 75. And they kicked it all the way back to like 11 or 12. I guess because it seems like in the anime they added a few things and really emphasized the fact that Jolene really does not like Jotaro, which I thought was a fine decision.
Yeah.
Because without that, it's just that she sees him, thought it was going to be her mom visiting her this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, hey, did you get that pendant I left with your mom? And she just immediately knocks out, she means to hit the prison guard, but she just like two-fisted just pounds this guard in the face, knocks him out. And then she's like, that's going to put me in solitary confinement, which is fine because I want to get away from you. If I knew it was you, I would not have come to see you. She's probably double mad because she also had this little boy being like, don't go to the visitor's room.
And she's like, what if it's my mom?
And it's not. It's some guy she doesn't like.
And she's like, I don't want to see you anyway. Damn it.
Yeah. But then Jotaro is like, hey, listen to me. I'm here because there's this guy that is the reason why you're in here. And he set up everything from the hitchhiker to your ex-boyfriend to your lawyer to the judge. Someone wants you in here.
His name is John Gallier.
John Gallier is the name of the guy that we then see the photo and realize it's the guy with the big butt, unless you weren't looking at his face the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to take a guess at what John Gallier is a reference to?
Is it like Cartier?
Gautier?
Cartier?
I don't know.
I spoiled this, so I'm not going to...
It's
Is it something that we know?
No, it's fashion.
John Galliano.
It's a reference to John Galliano, who is a influential British fashion designer. He was for 16 years the head designer for Christian Dior. And just from reading his Wikipedia article, he stopped being the head designer in 2011 because they fired him because he, while drunk in an Italian cafe, said a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff.
Oh no.
And as a Jewish person, I'm allowed to find it funny that he just said to these Italian ladies, I love Hitler, and a bunch of other stuff.
Wow.
Supposedly, allegedly, maybe also exchanged slaps with them.
Wow.
But he made amends, and ADL said that he's fine now.
Okay.
He started his own fashion thing.
What's
and
ADL?
Anti-Defamation League.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just weird that the year in which this is supposed to take place, he just apparently is in an Italian cafe yelling, "I love Hitler." Or no, he's in France yelling at Italian people. I don't know why they would care, but whatever. That's who John Gagliano is.
Okay.
He also was a fashion designer, and I read that notably at the end of some of his fashion shows, he'll strike a rock star pose.
Okay.
I didn't look up what this looks like, but I wonder if it's kind of a JoJo-ish type of pose. Like maybe he strikes some impossible pose with his fingers at different angles. But yes, unfortunately, this is not like a Sloop John Galley A musical reference. This is just
Dang.
just a fashion guy.
Just a little anti-Semite guy.
Just a little anti-Semitic British guy who in 2004 was voted 5th most influential Brit. Anyway, his character seems to have a pie symbol on his face. Did you guys notice that?
Nope.
Okay, there were other things on him besides the butt.
I don't believe you.
All people could see was the butt.
Yeah.
So this guy orchestrated the whole thing from within the prison, including paying off the judge, the lawyer, her boyfriend Romeo, because he's a subordinate of Dio. And
Yeah, I guess, does he say subordinate?
in the
dub, he does.
In
maybe.
the dub, he does. In the subs, he says,
I think follower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I wonder if those two things are meaningful to distinguish from, someone who just is like, I love Dio, but maybe never met him. Maybe Dio's like, yeah, whatever.
And so he has a grudge against the Joestar bloodline. But I have a question about that.
Uh-huh.
Why is he targeting Jolene? Why isn't he targeting Jotaro?
Jotaro's...
Then he...
Go ahead.
Well, if he gets to Jolene, that effectively would get to Jotaro, who's already shown strong enough to beat the person he admires. So maybe he figures if he can get to Jolene, because he had no idea that she was going to get a stand, right? You know, like everybody just assumed that she might be, in a way that she'll probably likely get one, but his hope was to get her before she got a stand. So in a way, Jotaro's like getting her the pendant and the piece of the stone of the arrowhead was like a double insurance in a way to make sure that she had the tools to fend herself. I mean,
see.
That would suck to lose your daughter, to the guy who just was a fan of your biggest villain.
Yeah.
I guess. I'm not convinced Jotaro actually cares. I don't know.
I think
he showed up. Come
He
on.
did. He did.
There were starfish out there that needed stuff done.
That's true.
Yeah.
He had
They're
to leave
always
his starfish
finding more
behind.
glimpses of the giant squid out there. Then the rest of the scene, a bunch of interesting things happen. Some stuff is revealed. But one thing that I think was a constant that kept annoying me was how much Jolene was kind of listening to Jotaro, but she kept also being like, don't tell me what to do. And I don't like you, and you've never been there for me. But it's like...
She's like, what's this talk about grudges? I thought you were a marine biologist, and I like that.
Yeah, I thought you were a scholar, is what they say.
Yeah.
You're some kind of scholar in the dub, which,
Yeah.
again, trying to fit things into a smaller time like a marine biologist seems kind of hard to do. But then, yeah, Jotaro he's saying like this guy was a sniper, but he had cataracts, so he went blind. And now, he's trying to kill you in this prison. You're here for a reason. And she a few times kicks the prison guard that she knocked out, being like, come on, get me out of here. I don't want to talk to this asshole.
She's very angry.
She's like, I don't want to talk to this loser dad of mine. And he's like, no, listen, you might get shot. And then is it just randomly that...
No, so she notices that that she got out of her handcuffs somehow,
Right.
and that there's a lit cigarette on the table that's a different brand from what the cop was carrying. So they're
Jotaro
like,
notices the cigarettes, and he
Yeah.
notices water dripping too.
oh, that I didn't
Yeah, they
I
keep
understand.
don't know
cutting
if
to
he
the
notices
AC.
it, but they keep cutting to it.
Yeah. Like it
Yeah.
keeps building up more and more condensation.
But I didn't understand, like, who is there like a third power somewhere? Like who made her handcuffs go away?
It's weird. And again, in the comic, they don't really highlight that. And they also added for the anime Jotaro being like, sit down. Because in the comic, they just go from standing to sitting and it's not explained. So I guess maybe they added that to say like, hey, this isn't magic like the handcuffs or whatever the fuck it is with the handcuffs.
Yeah.
They intentionally sat down. So it's a little confusing there because I don't know if in the anime... Yeah, I assume that something is up with the handcuffs. I don't remember what it is. I know the stand a little bit. Like I have memories of how the stand works, but I don't know what's up with the AC. I have a theory. But this is still mysterious to me. I'm excited to see what the fuck the deal is with this visitation room.
Okay. So then Jotaro's like, get away from the door, Jolene, no. And she gets shot. And he stops time.
She gets shot. He tries to stop time at the right moment, but instead he ends up stopping time after she's already blocked the bullet herself.
With her stand.
Yeah, in the manga, it's explained that she formed like a Kevlar type of bulletproof vest with her threads.
So that's a power.
So it's as though like in an instant, her threads, instead of just being a spool, they like mesh together into like a checkerboard kind of weave as though it's stronger that way and it blocked the bullet. Also in the manga, fun detail is that Star Platinum flicks the bullet out of her stand. Like it just flicks it off. And she doesn't even seem in either adaptation, in either the comic or the anime, she doesn't really seem to understand what even happened. She doesn't go like, thank God I knew how to make a bulletproof hand. It just like happens. Yeah, she's a little bit knocked out. And then Jotaro is like, just look, we have to look around and figure out where the stand user is. And
she's like, how could he get she's like, how could he get a gun, a sniper gun in here? And Jotaro explains that you can bring guns like in pieces and then put them together if you bring them in different objects.
And bribe the guards not to look too close.
Yeah.
I also wonder if maybe that's why we do focus on John Galli's ass so much, is maybe that's where he stores gun parts. Maybe he just smuggles them in his butt. Real or fake? We don't know. We don't judge.
There's a whole rifle hiding just right there.
It's just broken down.
You're all like entranced by the curvature and everything. None of that's real. That's just guns jutting up against.
He somehow made it all very round, so you don't bother to check. And you know, in the military, I think there have been times where they've like blindfolded soldiers and been like, "Can you disassemble and assemble your rifle while blindfolded?" So yeah, it could be that even though he's blind, he remembers, he stores everything out of his butt. Maybe he throws like one twerk backwards and all the gun parts pop out into his hands and puts the sniper together. I don't know. I can't draw that, but you can picture it. And then can we talk about this stand that shows up?
Yes.
Yeah, it was weird to me. It was like a little floaty blue guy.
I wrote down it looks like a baby's toy because it has like it's a little like flying like rubber like soft thing with like jingly keys on the bottom. It looked like a baby's toy.
Yeah, the little keys at the bottom, like hey, here,
yeah,
over here.
I thought you guys are probably closer to like the mark than I was, but I was imagining it. It looked like if like they replace valet people with like a robot, and it looked like you go to pick up your car and just something floats to you with your keys, and you're like, "Thank you, yes, these are my Honda keys." This stand, I don't know what it's kind of cute to me. Anyway,
It's cute.
I especially like the way it like kind of flies for a second. They're using their 3D budget, and then it lands and it kind of softly like lilts over. Like you can see that it's kind of like, it's like kind of weak, kind of papery. And then Jotaro's like, don't do anything, don't make any quick movements. And Jolene immediately throws Stone Free's threads at it. And she wants to examine it, but they miss. And then we see that it's, in the air kind of dancing around again, but it doesn't seem to attack her threads. And the two of them work out that it's actually influenced by air currents. In this case, probably the air that was pushed by her threads. Jotaro is also just like, don't move away from the wall. But then the guard is coming out of her knockout state and his knockout state. In my head, that character is female. I don't know.
Okay.
She just looked like she had a feminine body to me, but I thought, I was like, maybe the voice actor is a lady just with like a deep voice, but no. All male voice actors on the English and Japanese voices, but I can decide whatever I want. And they, God damn it, he gets up and is like, Cujo, I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you and put you in solitary. and they're trying to be like, don't let this guard fuck everything up for us. And Jolene's trying to. Jolene says to the guard, "Calm down," which is like, it's not gonna work. You just knock this person out, and they're supposed to. This whole time, by the way, were you guys also wondering, like, isn't there somebody else watching this meeting?
Yeah.
No.
Like the guard says, like, anybody can stop your conversation whenever they want if they don't like it. But then, like, she just knocks this guy out, and nobody does anything.
Mhm.
It's possible that John Galley like bribed them or took them out. I don't know.
Well, plus two, like so far they've shown so many instances where there's like cameras all over the place. There was cameras like constantly in the last episode. So the fact that there's no cameras like in this like visitation room to keep track of stuff is like insane. They're just depending on that one guard who's like cruising with the two people who are visiting.
Yeah, it's suspect.
It's very suspect. I'm fine with assuming for now that they were paid off or maybe killed. So then, the guard is getting up and is going to ruin things or be hurt, and they're trying to convince the guard not to charge at Jolene.
Yeah, he's coming at them. Jolene she looks like she's going to go and fight him, and Jotaro's like, no, Jolene! And then he takes a bullet for her, so maybe he is a good dad.
Yeah, it's sort of a shame that he pushes Jolene, takes a bullet, but the bullet goes right through the guard's head anyway.
Yeah.
Like, very cleanly in
through
and out.
Jotaro's shoulder or something and into the guard's forehead.
And so the guard, I assume, is dead. And then the episode ends. Then it's to be continued. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right there.
And I was like, no.
We actually did miss one thing, though.
Yeah.
What's that?
And that's when they're trying to figure out and assess what's going on with what we assume is a stand. Jotaro says, okay, let's not engage it yet. We got to figure out what it's going to do first.
Yeah.
And then Jolene's just like, wait, let me see what happens. Sends out her spider thread, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the whole exchange of her, and this kind of plays back to what we're talking about, her being smarter than maybe we think, but maybe not as, like, maybe book smart, because she knows what aerodynamics are, but she doesn't know the word for, like aerodynamics or thermodynamics. And that's
that's true. I think they translated as air currents at some point. I could be confusing it with the comic, but yeah, it's like, she gets it, but they make a point of her being like, what's the word for it? I don't know. So it was like, even though, Jotaro was like, don't move, they did figure something out because she did, cause it to behave in a indirect, weird way that led them to think it must be the air. Which, again, also to me makes sense in terms of the dollar bill falling in the shower perfectly into his shoe. And then him, in the comic at least, hearing the male prisoners drop all their cards and knowing where they are and stuff. But yeah, that is the end of episode 3, which is The Visitor Part 1. We're excited to watch the rest of it, but we should probably wrap it up. This is another long one, I think.
Yeah.
Even though we're only watching one episode. But
I have a thought.
Oh, what you got?
This is just, after watching it the third time, I realized that I think, people have asked before, they've written in and asked, like, what order should you watch? Like, I want to get my friend into JoJo's, what order should they watch it or whatever? I have realized that I think the best order to watch JoJo's is backwards. So start from whatever the latest arc is, the latest season, watch that, and then watch the one before it, and then watch the one before that, and then like until so today it would be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I do not recommend this to anyone.
Why?
I don't think you should do that.
Why? You get the most recent one, and then you get to see who their dad was or whatever, and then you get to see, oh, this is him when he was young. I like him,
I mean, I guess that's fun, but also I think the stands might get less interesting then as time goes on. I think it's better to build on them being like, mine's a bird that has fire, even though Araki makes them complicated. But maybe you're right. I don't know. You could really do it in any order.
That's my stance now.
Okay.
My stance now is watch them backwards.
I like that if that's your stance, though, I at least appreciate that variety. That instead of being like, do I start at part 1 or part 3? You could be like, no, fuck that. Just go backwards. You're like a new type of JoJo fan, so that's good. Anyway, we should wrap up here. Chad, it's been great having you on. I'm glad.
Thanks, Chad.
We finally got you on
my pleasure.
the pod.
Chad, do you have anything to plug?
if people are on Facebook, which I know we have like, there's a lot of young people that listen to this podcast, so probably not. But I have a couple of random video game and geek related pages that no, that noise is not warranted at all. But they can go searching for a Geek Chronicles, which was supposed to be tied to a podcast of my own. So this actual appearance here on the show has now caused me to manifest a whole bunch of equipment that I didn't have previously.
Nice.
So I'm now equipped to do a podcast. So maybe I'll go and actually follow through with that. So go search for a Geek Chronicles. I also have a more gaming related thing, which is Must Keep Playing, which is just supposed to be me chronicling, hey, these are cool games I think that people might like, so go check them out. So just sharing links. That's on Facebook, which, older people like to use.
Nice.
We'll write in.
Yeah, so people go follow those things so that Chad does have an impetus to follow through and do a podcast. Because, yeah, you sound good on this mic and this setup.
Yeah.
So you might as well put it to good use. But listeners also should know that you have to choose one podcast or the other.
Yeah.
That if you do decide that if Chad does start a pod and you listen to it, you stay subscribed to us. And if you give us any money or left a review, that stays up, but stop listening, please.
But you'll be dead to us.
You're dead to us.
It's the rules. It's the rules. And that's
Thank you.
You can't control the rules.
Yes, and not again, you never knew this, but we are at JJB Pod on Twitter. So you can go ahead and follow us there. We are not on Facebook. But probably maybe our listener ages would skew older if we were. But it's too much.
Maybe we should have a Facebook presence.
Maybe
get all the
all the boomers,
the aunts and
the boomers
the
and
uncles.
the Gen Xers.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that. When you said aunts and uncles, I started to think of real family and went, oh no, don't listen to this. There is also a JoJo's Bizarre Podcast fan run Discord that we are in, but we do not run. So we do not moderate it, but it's cool, and we're in there sometimes. And lastly, yes, if you have thoughts, want to explain things that we didn't explain, or have questions for us, you can write to jojosbizarrepod@gmail.com. Next week, as I said, we'll be watching episode 4, The Visitor Part 2, I'm assuming it's called. Have a good week, everybody. Talk to you next time. Bye.
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 Bye.